No.
So here's the interesting part. So let's break this down. This is a big issue with Sabres fans today. Who you can't. If you're making fun of Sabres fans at this point, there's something wrong with you, because they all deserve a gigantic hug. If you still admit publicly to supporting the Buffalo Sabres, God bless you. Like, this is just an awful, awful team and an awful setup. Everything's bad. And Sabres fans actually are allowed back, by the way, on March 20th. I think it's less than 2,000 people. And I don't know what they're going to buy a ticket for. So they basically, Ralph Kruger said that Jack Eichel hurt himself in warm-up. And then Jack Eichel said, no, I didn't. I hurt myself in New Jersey on Tuesday. And according to John Vogel, who writes for The Athletic and did a huge breakdown, I highly suggest you read. It was really good. He said there's no best case scenario for this. Since Kruger said it wasn't the usual gamesmanship that can accompany players' health status, either he didn't know of an injury to his superstar or he misled everyone. And then here's what Kruger had to say. When I mentioned it, the specific region that actually took him out of the game, the first time I'd heard about it was warm-up. But that he was injured and that he came out of the game in New Jersey was clear to me. But it turns out there was multiple lower body injuries and whatever.
Jesus. So it wasn't just Vogel skewering the Buffalo Sabres. I'm trying to, here it is from Mike Harrington. It's been a while
he's cantankerous, that's for sure.
Been a while for Mike Harrington, but here he is back on the show. 21 hours ago, he tweeted, "This franchise is an utter disgrace. Ownership, management, coaches, players, all of them. That's all I got to say today." Man, wow. It's funny. Like, I feel like I follow enough fans of each team that I have a decent idea of what they're all going through. Red Wings fans are miserable, but they understand it's all part of the process. Sens fans too. They're actually having really fun with it. Are you seeing the sickos thing that's taken off?
No.
Sens fans are calling themselves sickos because of that one meme. I got to show it to you. But basically, you're sickos if you watch this team. So we're the sickos.
Great job there, Steve.
I pulled the chute, Jesse. Usually I go on for half an hour to get there, but I pulled the chute early. Canucks fans are mad. But there's still hope there. Ducks fans, they know they're going through a rebuild. Sharks fans, sort of the same thing. Rangers aren't doing very well, same thing. Sabres fans are just like, there's no hope. There is no hope. Not only are we bad, but there's a very good chance we get worse. Because
Jack Campbell could be traded.
Yeah. And as a fan...
Even worse, Adam, Jack Eichel.
Jack Eichel, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. As a fan base, you sit there and you're like, oh, we did all the losing and we got the number 1 overall or number 2 overall pick and like everything should be better by now. And you're like, 5 years later, it's still going on.
And you got Dahlin.
So disappointing.
You got Dahlin number 1.
You got number 1 again, or number 1 again. You know.
Yes.
Dylan Cousins number 7.
Yeah. I think the other thing too is it's 1,970 tickets per game that'll be sold. According to John Vogel, he said a coaching change this season isn't as simple as calling Bruce Boudreau, Gerard Gallant, or Claude Julien. They'd have to quarantine once arriving in Buffalo, a process that would take at least a week, maybe 2. Meanwhile, the Sabres have 7 games in the next 13 days as of today. So I don't know what you're going to do. The organization could summon Rochester coach Seth Appert on an interim basis, but he has 6 games of professional experience, guys.
Oh, my.
The Rochester American staff also features first-year assistants Adam Mayer, former Leaf, and Mike Weber. I think, yeah. And then here's the other fun part for the Pagulas. Ralph Kruger also has 1 more season on his contract at $4 million a year, according to Pierre LeBrun. The Pagulas have a long history of throwing money away on coaches and GMs, but the financial losses are already huge in the pandemic era. Though they might be okay with letting Kruger go in the offseason, would they bother now since the playoffs aren't going to happen anyway?
Not to parrot Dwayne Steinel, he of Buffalo Sabres Radio Rant fame. This is ownership. This is 100,000% ownership. ownership is the reason the Buffalo Sabres suck. They fired how many coaches? They fired how many general managers now? They had Jack Eichel fall into their lap. They had the first overall pick. They've picked top 10 pretty consistently in recent years, and they stink. They're unwatchable. They're the worst team in the NHL right now. 2-7-1 in their last 10. Who's got a worse record in their last 10? I'm looking. Nobody. Nobody has a worse record in their last 10 games. The Buffalo Sabres stink. Taylor Hall very nakedly signing there in order to get traded is playing so poorly, or his production is so poor with the Buffalo Sabres. Good luck getting anything for him.
And good luck, Taylor Hall, getting the numbers you want next offseason. Good luck.
Good luck. What a mistake. Now, the rumor was the other option for him was Nashville, which it doesn't sound like Taylor Hall was going to make the greatest choice no matter what. But on Nashville, he might have had a fighting chance, for God's sake. The Buffalo Sabres, and you're forced to carry the load, because forget getting support from Jeff Skinner. When he's in the lineup, you can't score, but he's out of the lineup half the time. You got Jack Eichel. You got a bunch of other players who don't scare a single person. They suck. So I don't know what to tell you. You fire the coach, then he's just another friggin' fired coach in a long list of them. You fire the GM, well, you got to pick a direction at some point. What is, like, with Connor McDavid, we were like, man, how long is he going to tolerate this with Edmonton? But part of that was the air of surprise in that the Oilers still sucked.
Mm-hmm.
What is there on the horizon for the Sabres? Nothing. They suck. They suck. They look like they're going to start to suck worse. They suck. And you know what's scary is that's the end of the conversation. Like, there's nowhere for it to go. With McDavid, it was
but maybe anything. Nothing.
Yeah. With McDavid, it was always the Oilers suck, but. And now look at them. They're good.
Mm-hmm.
They're good. They're one of the hottest teams in the NHL, second in Canada. The Sabres suck. They've been bottom 5 for God knows how long. They suck, and there's nowhere for them to go but down.
I have a question.
Answer.
Steve, last episode, you were speaking about GMs, specifically Mark Bergevin, talking about their one bullet, which is firing the head coach. If Kevin Adams makes that decision, this was not his head coach, by the way, but if Kevin Adams makes this decision, he's going to be hamstrung by budget. There's no way he's going to be able to go and buy a $3 or $4 million coach again, because Ralph Kruger's going to be on the books for another season. And he's used his bullet. And if it doesn't work out well here for Kevin Adams, former Sabre, he'll never be a GM again.
And he was the Pegula's guy. He was their guy. So he's got to do a good job here. So here is where the conversation continues, right? Here's the potential. Kevin Adams hasn't really had a chance to do anything yet. I do admire how bold he was for going out and getting Taylor Hall. Like, that's no small thing. But if he really wants to earn his money here and be a GM in this league for a long time and, make the Buffalo Sabres into a winning team, he's got to find a way to make some moves. I don't care if you're making lateral moves, just trying to figure shit out. You got to make your team not ass. They're ass. They're the 4th worst team in the NHL by points percentage. They're terrible. And the teams below them, basically except for the Canucks, meant to be bad. The Canucks knew they were taking a step back. Sabres didn't think they were taking a step back. They signed Taylor Hall.
Eric Stahl.
They added, and by the moves that I praise, by the way. Bring in Taylor Hall. If he's good, re-sign him. If not, you can still trade him for X, Y, and Z. Eric Stahl, that should help fix the room. That should help get Jeff Skinner going. Both of them. Horrible. You got to find, and I know it's a petrodactyl right now. All right. It's difficult to make trades in a panini. But what? Well, you gotta do something. I'm not even talking panic moves. You got to do something.
In panic move territory, guess who has made the Athletics trade deadline board?
Oh, hit me, Adam.
Don't say Jack Eichel. Joseph
R. Eichel. And
is it Joseph?
No, it's not. I'm just.
Oh, okay.
It's Jack.
Or Jackson.
If anything, it'd be James. But I just thought it would be funny to do a different name. Jack Eichel's on the board. They say chances are, if a deal did happen, it would be in the offseason, which makes sense. He makes $10 million.
Yeah.
But there was a GM or an executive quoted saying, "We think he ends up with the Rangers," which is what everybody seems to think. And it's so funny because then all the fake NHL rumor accounts are going, "Well, I've just heard from an executive who thinks," and you're like, okay, well then, yeah, they're just parroting that. But Jack Eichel's on the board. I'd be interesting to see if Sportsnet and TSN agree, because I like comparing the boards, right, to see who makes what where. And a Jack Eichel move would be an earth shaker.
Yeah.
I don't see it happening this season. But then what else do you do? Like, Rasmus Ristolainen has been in trade rumors since 2014. And what do you get?
That's not even the biggest story he's been involved in this year.
What's the other one?
He had complications from COVID. Like, he was having difficulty going up and down the stairs. I think he's just returned to action.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. There's not many stories like that in hockey, but he's one of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So there you go. So there's that. Remember the report that came out a couple of weeks ago that there's mutual interest between the Buffalo Sabres and Taylor Hall in signing an extension? I think there would be if Taylor Hall can't get it anywhere else.
I too would want to negotiate with the team dumb enough to give Jeff Skinner that contract. Yes.
I mean, he's got them pinned. What else are they going to do?
Yeah.
Pay him an insane amount of money.
What are you going to do? Keep being bad?
Well, and the thing is, though, with Taylor Hall is that when was the last time Taylor Hall was great?
2017.
So, like, at what point, this is a guy, and I understand this, Hart Trophy winner, I get it. But at what point are we going to start saying Taylor Hall's not that player anymore?
Well, we often use this term, hard miles.
Guys, he scored a goal this year. One.
Yeah, that's not good. He's a good playmaker. I mean, 12 points in 19 games on the Buffalo frickin' Sabres is no small feat. But, yeah, man, hard, extremely hard miles on that body. That's tough. He was criticized for having a dog shit season last year. It wasn't that bad. We talked about the standard for star players. He had, quick math, 52 points in 65 games.
$8 million forwards need to score more than 20 goals, Steve.
Yes. That's the problem. Man, he was so good. And I was wrong, by the way. It was 2018. 76 games, 93 points, 39 of which were goals. But man, you go back and look through his career, there's no other season that looks anything like that. He had
13-14, he had 80.
He had 80 points, but not the 39 goal pace, the nearly 40 goal pace, because Taylor Hall was on pace to score over 40. He scored 93 points despite missing 6 games. He was good. He was extremely, extremely good. But other than that 180-point season, he hasn't cracked 70. I think there's mutual interest because they need each other.
Adam and Steve, if I put in front of you a blank contract to be the GM of the Buffalo Sabres, and I say your starting core is Jack Eichel, Rasmus Dahlin, Rasmus Ristolainen, Jack Quinn, and Dylan Cozens. Is that not enough to build a contender within like 2 years?
You'd think so.
Right?
You would think so, man.
You look at the young pieces and you'd think so.
But they're radioactive. No one wants to go there. Right? Like, you need to be able to attract Russian free agents, Swedish free agents, college free agents. You need to draft well. You need to be able to sign big fish and also sign off the board players, right? Like these are what all the good teams are able to do, and they're able to do so little of that. Drafting outside of the first round for the most part is a nightmare.
But they don't have a staff. Like they fired everyone. You don't have a scouting staff. You like look at the reason the Leafs and for a long time the Red Wings, some of these teams is that there's an unlimited budget on scouts and people like that can go to other countries and find these diamonds in the rough, these value adds, which the Sabres need, especially when Jeff Skinner and his $9 million are sitting on the bench. And they can barely find enough guys to scout for them for the draft, just for the draft.
And that's ownership. And I'm looking through the roster. God, the amount of breath we wasted on Colin Miller.
Oh,
what a shame.
Or is it the Buffalo sickness? Tell me who's gone to Buffalo and done well. Ryan O'Reilly, now the captain and Stanley Cup winner in St. Louis.
Like who has gone from one team example. To the Sabres?
Wayne Simmons. Now he did have 8 months of rehab and rest and relaxation. When he came back and played for the Leafs, he was unbelievable. He was a great player again in comparison to what we thought he was based on his play in New Jersey and Buffalo last season.
We all thought
Taylor
Brandon
Hall
Montour
hasn't looked good.
We thought Brandon Montour was going to be good, and then he ended up on the Sabres.
Like maybe there is like a Saber sickness, and I'm being a bit of a nickname. But maybe it's just so depressing to play in that dressing room right now. And I'm not talking about the city. I'm talking about the culture around the team. Maybe it's just so bloody depressing that it's like, I don't know. I'm just not good anymore. Think about, here's one that really gets me. There was a player, and I want to see if you can name him, Steve, who just gave up $15 million and said, I'm not playing in Buffalo.
Oh, for God's sake. He's Swedish.
Yes. Is it Berglund?
I'm completely blanking. I can picture him. He used to play for the Blues. Patrick Berglund. Why did I remember that he played for the Blues?
He had his own things going on, right?
Yes.
I think Chris Johnson. But like if let's say he had been traded to a Stanley Cup contender. Do you think he would have hacked it out? Maybe.
That's his story to tell, but you would think so. Now, I am going to say one thing for the Sabres, right? Carter Hutton is 1-5-1 with an .896 save percentage. That is ghastly. Ooh. Linus Ullmark, is 5-4-2 on this godforsaken team with a .919, and Jonas Johansson, who a lot of Sabres fans think is going to be really good for them, has a .915, although he hasn't won a game yet. I mean, they got shut out in back-to-back games, so goal scoring is the problem at the moment, but you can do a lot of things with goaltending. So Carter Hutton, they got to figure out what's going on there. And if they can't, they need to make a decision for how to have him not be a Buffalo Sabre anymore. You need saves, you need goals. This team needs everything. Kevin Adams, so you want to be a GM.
Ooh.
This is being an NHL GM on Legendary.
Hey, let me ask you this, guys. You're the Sabres, you're the new GM, and Jesse, same question. Is Jack Eichel your recourse?
What do you mean?
As in trading Jack Eichel. Is that the way, inevitably, in 5 years, you're better than you are now?
I don't think you get better by trading Jack Eichel. Like, that's just the way I look at when you're building.
You get better by keeping him.
You get better by making him happy and making him play well with guys around him. And I think that just should be a philosophy for everyone when they're building a sports franchise. Like, you don't trade the star of your team when you're trying to build something up, and he's still young, and there's a chance to redeem this. Like, Jack Eichel's not out the door. He's not demanding a trade yet. It's going to get there if it keeps going this way, but there's still something to salvage there. And if you can keep Jack Eichel, then you have the core piece that you're going to be looking for after you trade him.
You have to keep him happy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I don't know how you do it.
TikTok, baby. TikTok.
Good app.
Probably might need a new head coach in there very soon.
Yep. And I wonder who it's going to be, because here's the thing. They're not going to have the budget for any of the big names. So what do you do?
Maybe
the
the Bills playoff run will get a couple more dollars into the Sabres pockets, you know? Same family, so maybe they can fund a little money.
They have turned
I don't think it's money. It's not money with the Sabres. It's shitty decisions. They have the money. They're probably top half at least in the league. Shitty decisions, dumb hockey decisions that make their dumb hockey team worse. Do smart things, get better. Good Lord. Good Lord. No Sabres fan disagrees with this conversation right now. None.
No, I don't think so.
None of
That's
them.
the thing. Usually when we go, hey, this team sucks, people are like, hey, wait a second. Not with the Sabres. They're like, yeah, we know this is insane. We can't believe this either.
No, and what happens sometimes when I say these things, because this happened, I tweeted something about the Sens recently in a bad draft pick they made, and people went, well, what about the Leafs? They sucked. Don't I know it? I've been making videos about them since 2007. I know. My book is called This Team is Ruining My Life. I know.
And
are you aware that they haven't won the Cup since 67? Did you know that?
Holy shit, Adam. You should tweet that, because I don't think anyone knows that. You know what? 67 is more recently than never. All I'm saying is I know a shit team when I see one. Cheered for one for a very long time. Sabres stink. Let's go.